Hi guys, it's Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today we're going to be playing with the Carnation etched dies from Susan Tierney. I've already got everything cut out, I think. What I've decided to do, first off, here are our dies. We've got 3 little dies. This one is for the largest part, the largest piece, I guess, the part that's going to be the largest part of your petals, and you need to cut that one out 3 times. Each of the dies, like with all of hers, has got this little part on here etched telling you how many to do. You can do something different if you choose to. This time I'm actually going to use all of the ones that she says to do. You may remember on the Queen Anne's lace, I didn't do quite as many because I wanted a smaller and not as full flower. This time I think I'm going to go all out. So this one I need 3 of. Then we've got this die that I believe we only need 1 of. There is no markings on here saying that we need any additional. And then we've got these, which are the little tiny leaves, which says to do 2 to 3 times. So I've already cut out 3 of those. So I'm going to set those off to the side. And instead of using my markers this time or cutting out of colored cardstock, I'm cutting out of white, and I'm going to use my Distress Oxides, which does mean that it's going to need a little bit of time to dry, but that also means you can use whatever color medium you want to get cool results, right? And I'm also using my pint-size paper pouncers from Picket Fence. I hadn't actually decided which inks I was going to use these with, and they're less expensive than the full-size paper pouncers that I also love. So I figured, okay, I'm taking out my Distress Oxides today. Haven't done that in a while. Let's go ahead and use those. So I'm just getting some of the Kitsch Flamingo onto my little pouncer, and look how easy that goes down. Okay, and when she was describing how she recommends doing it and how she was doing it on hers, I was watching the Susan Tierney video a little earlier, she also used some darker color in the center. So I'm going to give that one a shot. Let's first, I think instead of doing everything straight on my pouncer, I'm going to put a little bit of the paint here. Actually, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put some of the colors down onto my glass mat. So I've got Kitsch Flamingo and Crackling Campfire. That's basically just to combine the 2 colors. So I wanted it a little bit redder and a little bit of water. Fair warning, this is just cardstock. So if you use cardstock instead of watercolor paper, adding any kind of water on there could cause a little bit of an issue. So I'm just mixing some of that in. I may need to go with a different red. Let me see what it looks like on this. Actually, that might work. I want a little more pink though. So I just want to add a little bit of that reddish color to my pink. And then I'm going to come in from the middle because I want it to be a little bit darker in the center. And I think I'm going to come back in with my pink on the pouncer just to even it up a little bit and deepen the pink a little bit more. And luckily, when I was die cutting, I was able to die cut it and have it actually stay in the cardstock so it's easier to color. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for my other pieces. I almost forgot, we also need to add some pink to the backs of these. You don't need to add that darker bit in the center, so I'm just pouncing all over the back. There's one thing with dimensional flowers is a lot of times you see both sides, at least on parts of them. So we want to make sure that there's no glaring white showing. So for the first 2 of these, I did them with the back facing up, wrong side up, and just used my large ball stylus to kind of shape each of those. For For the third one, we're doing it a little bit different. We're going to be using our loop tool for that, and it's basically the same thing. However, this is going to make it so you can add more definition, more striations and stuff if you choose to. One thing I am noticing is that it's also, so I may not do it that way, for whatever reason, going on top of the oxide ink that I'm using is also adding these, it's basically, I don't know if I'm wiping it off or if just some of the metal is coming off or what. So I just changed my mind. I am instead going to just use my large ball stylus to shape these. And since I only did the one petal, you know what? The rest of them are really not going to be noticeable. And I am turning it over backwards. But this last petal is going to be basically covered up, or I'm going to make sure it is on the end product. So I'm just using my large ball stylus and kind of doing a pouncing so I don't scrape this over the oxides. It's been a long time since I used oxides, so I did not realize it was going to have that effect. Okay, and after we've got that done, you do want to go around the edges well too, so that we've got, I'm trying to show you guys the easiest way to get all of the curves without having to go back and do a lot of extra. We do want to break down the fibers in the paper even around all of those little edges. Okay, now we're going to take our tweezers and we're going to go right up the middle, and on each of these petals we're going to pinch right along there. Here we go. So we're going to do that on all of these. Okay, and then we can cup the whole thing just with our large ball stylus. Now, if you decide, you can come back and kind of curve the tips a little bit, give them a little bit more dimension, more realism. And just like with all of these realistic flowers, you can do as little or as much as you want. The more that you follow Susan Tierney's design and her instructions, the more realistic your flowers are going to be. But I like taking artistic license a bit, and the people that receive it are probably not going to notice if I skipped a step. So these can be as finicky or not as you want to make them. So I know that's probably the most intimidating part about this, is how do we get all that detail? How can we get all of that? We just go step by step and do all of the things that she recommends in her video. Okay, there we go. So while I was working on our smaller leaves, the smaller petals, while I was rewatching some of the things from Susan Tierney and realized that I do need to do 2 sets of these. So this is the die, and I was looking over it and didn't see where it said 2. It actually has a 2X right down here that I missed the first time around. So you do need 2 sets of these. That means you're going to have 3 of the larger and then 2 of each of these little guys. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are 5 pieces. So you're going to have 10 of these alternating sizes and 3 of the larger ones for 1 flower. But you've seen carnations. Carnations are very, very full. So what I probably should have done on the last 2, which are the largest of these bundles, okay? Largest of the one using this, okay? What I should have done with that is started doing all my shaping with it face up. So I'm going to do that with the rest of these. So these look very much, the ones that I did, these guys, using this largest petal piece, are actually very much like the largest, and you don't have to have them that way. This is kind of where we know that carnations are very full, and they are at basically all of their leaves are kind of, it's just a very, very full flower. So what I'm doing now, because I don't want to have those silver marks on there, and I'm not 100% sure why. I think it just has to do with the metal reacting with the distress oxide. Instead, I'm just going to kind of just shape them a little bit with my large ball stylus, and then I'm going to pinch them. So each of our little petals we're going to pinch. And it looks a little bit different when you do everything on one side than what I did on the others, which was I did the shaping of the petal on the back. I'll show you in a second. And then these, we've got the shaping was done on the front. See, it looks a little bit different, right? And that's just going to give a little bit more variety in the flower, and that's the way that they come in nature. So now we're going to start putting our flowers together. And what I've got is I went ahead and glued the first of the petals of the petal bundles. I'm going to just call it a petal. Anyway, I just put the first one down. And now I'm going to add some of the leaves behind here because I want it to stand out a little bit more from my card, right? And then we're going to layer everything up. And I'm doing this kind of random. On the leaves there is a more narrow part, and I'm thinking, I haven't checked, but I'm thinking that's probably the part where it would be attached to the stem. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and put our second leaf petal cluster down. Just putting a big bunch of glue down there, and then I'm going to turn this so that the petals kind of fall between the other ones. And then we're just going to hold it there to give it a chance to dry. And here is our third. Again, we're going to try to position it so the new petals come between the ones that are underneath. So that was the last of the larger three, and now I'm going into the largest of the next batch. So this is using our second die, but I'm still just doing the exact same thing, just layering these and trying to make them so that they kind of offset each other and just holding it in place with my tweezers or with the small ball stylus to just hold it in place long enough for the glue to really adhere. Now this one, it's already getting really, really close in there, right? So I'm going to put the glue actually on the petal piece and then put that in there. Oh, I am loving the way that this is looking. Fabulous. So with these last batches, these little guys, we're going to have them mostly closed. And this first one I'm going to put right in the center there. I put glue on the back. There we go. And Susan Tierney calls these, she says that she's calling them tuckers. So it's basically where you're going to be able to tuck them in wherever you think that you need them. Okay? So that one has been cupped, and I'm using my fingers to cup it smaller, and I'm holding on to actually two of the petals at once. I can add my glue to the end, and let's just add one over here to the side. There we go. That's going to make that area a little bit fuller, and I do have all these still left over here. I forgot to, but I'm going to go ahead and cup those. And we're just going to grab these up and kind of tuck them smaller. Now, one thing that can help if you have the tool, which I do not have this one, she has a little tray. Susan Tierney has a tray that is able to hold all of your little pieces. Basically, it's a foam tray with holes through it, different size holes, so that it will hold these down so you can have them basically sitting off to the side and getting really good shaping. I don't have that, so I'm just winging it, and I'm going to just add these in wherever I think I want them, just adding a little bit more dimension. And then we've got these two little teeny weeny ones, teeny weeny little flowers. I think I want this one in the center there. And then this last one, I'll put in the center of one of the other tuckers that we can see right here. I'll put that one in right about there. Just adds a little bit more. So that is it for the flower. So I've got a couple more things I want to add to finish up this card. So I pulled out the extras that I had from some Queen Anne's lace. I'll leave a link here for you guys to see that video. But I'm loving that. It's a very, very simple flower, and I added a bunch on here because it really makes me think of baby's breath. And I even cut out more because it was so quick and easy to make that lovely swag there. And I've still got extras. Another thing that is in that set is this cute little ladybug that I colored and rounded and added some dimensional magic, which is the same thing as glossy accents, but this is what's in my stash. And I've let this to dry for a little bit, and that's, oh gosh, this is going to be so cute. I'm going to add these little ladybugs on there, and that's going to finish up the card. To add them, because they are rounded, I'm just adding a little bit of glue to the back of my hand. It's going to adhere to the edges, and then I can just, oh, I think I want to put one there. And then I've got another one, this teeny weeny weeny little one. And I'll put that one up on our flower. And that is, sometimes it's hard for me to let go with the tweezers. There we go. So that is going to finish up this card. I mean, look at that. That is just, I think it is super, super sweet. And yeah, all of that dimension. And one of the things I'm loving about the Queen Anne's lace is its lower profile. You can actually have it as low as you want, and I think it works as a wonderful, wonderful accent on your card. So anyway, that's going to finish this one up, guys. You have a wonderful day, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.